Hello, everybody. My name is DeShields. I am so thankful to the Black Women's Health Imperative and the Rare Disease Diversity Coalition for including me and giving me this opportunity to share my story with you all. I've been impacted in so many different ways, and it's organizations like this one that keep me going. I'm here to share my story, and I hope you guys enjoy. Growing up, just from a kid through high school, I was always, pretty good at sports. Spent a lot of time playing outside and just running around. But I noticed in high school that I was seeing two rims on the basketball court. And so for a couple years, I was trying to tell my mom, explain this to my mom without knowing how bad my vision actually was. I really just had the rim as an indicator that something was wrong because, there's only one rim. Finally, I was like, okay, we need to go to the eye doctor. Let's just go. So we go to the eye doctor and I get my first real comprehensive eye exam in my life. And after that appointment, my eye doctor then tells my mom that he believes I have keratoconus and that he was like, do you drive? And at that time I had my license. I was, fresh on the road. And he was like, with this vision, you shouldn't even be on the road. And my eyes lit up and I'm like, see, I told you I couldn't see. And I just had a huge sigh of relief because it was very validating in that moment to recognize that I was experiencing something as a kid, and then to be able to have a parent who, believed me just enough to take me and go make sure if it was true or not. So that felt really good. And from there, I got my first pair of glasses. And I just remember the ride back home after picking up my glasses was one of the most incredible experiences, of my life, honestly. It's a small thing if you take vision for granted, but for the first time in my life, I could see the leaves on the trees. And I just remember saying, wow, Mom, I can see the leaves on the trees. And she laughed and she was like, yeah, it's a leaf. To her, it wasn't a big deal because every day she, had access to good vision. But I was just amazed at how beautiful nature was. And so yeah, that's kind of how my journey began. And post-diagnosis was when things kind of set in that I have this issue that is going to progressively get worse that I need to try and find a solution for. And upon doing more research after my diagnosis, I started to begin to feel a little bit concerned because obviously there were horror stories, right, of people who would go to sleep able to see one day and they would wake up completely blind. In my head, I was just thinking the worst. So there was a lot of anxiety with that for a while, on top of the fact that the procedure that I needed to get was not FDA approved. The procedure is called corneal cross-linking. And again, I had no knowledge of the eye as an organ, let alone eye procedures and treatments for degenerative eye diseases. So I just done a ton of research over the years and obviously spoke with doctors who had kind of pointed me in the right direction. But my doctor at the time had told me about cross-linking, but it was not FDA approved. So even though this research was being done to potentially bring this technology to the medical field, I didn't have access to it. So I was just waiting. And that was pretty stressful because in the years of me waiting, my prescription would slowly change. So every 5 to 6 months, I was going to the eye doctor, and every time I went, I had a new eye prescription. And that was pretty concerning because in time, all I knew about this condition was that it was just going to slowly get worse. You hear people talk about divinity, divine intervention. I was fortunate to achieve one of my lifelong goals by being drafted to the WNBA. And I got drafted to the Chicago Sky, whose principal sponsor, medical sponsor, was U Chicago. So by then all my medical docs had transferred over, and it was time for us to get physicals, to get ready for the season. And my keratoconus diagnosis was a part of those records. And I remember our athletic trainer saying, we had this doctor at U Chicago who, she's an expert at this, you know, she's awesome. And I kind of blew it off because I'd seen so many doctors up until this point, and I kind of lost faith that I was gonna find a real solution. So I just remember going into the appointment that day, and I was just like, this isn't really gonna materialize into anything meaningful. I'm gonna still have this issue on the court. But Dr. Doshi not only met, but exceeded every expectation that I had. And I'm forever indebted to her. Like, she literally changed my life.